Welcome everybody to MogTalk. Today is October 23rd, 2021. If you're unfamiliar with MogTalks, it's a show based around the Final Fantasy XIV community discussing everything from Savage Raiding to Chocobo Racing. Today we have three wonderful guests on to talk about their hands-on experience with Endwalker as they were all at the media tour. And before we go too much further, I want to make sure you know who they are and have them introduce themselves. So we're going to start with Jahara, if you don't mind telling everybody who you are.
I'm Jahara. It's nice to meet you. I am a content creator. I stream primarily Final Fantasy XIV, although I'm recently dipping my toes into the other Final Fantasies like 15 and 7 Remake. I'm also a cosplayer. I speak Japanese, and I'm a mom. Nice to meet you.
Perfect introduction. I think that's probably the best one we've had in quite a while, to be honest. All right, Joy?
Hey, what's up? I'm CuriousJoi. I'm a variety streamer that also focuses on Final Fantasy XIV because it's my second life. The games that I like to play are JRPGs, fighting games, and action adventure. And I am obsessed with Final Fantasy. This is just, like, I've loved it since forever, and I have on the original Final Fantasy shirt.
Oh, hold on. Look, before we go any further,
Are we
I got
flexing?
this just hanging out on the side here.
Hey.
Backwards when I look at it, but that's fine.
Yeah. And then MrHappy.
Hey.
Perfect.
I'm MrHappy. I do a lot of Final Fantasy and 14 and all the Final Fantasies stuff. And I don't have on an original Final Fantasy shirt, but I do have this one.
Oh.
Darn it. I should have worn my jacket.
Yeah. We're doing
My
pretty good.
chair wears my jacket.
Oh, I think I have this my jacket right here.
Yeah, mine's like back there. I just have on this shirt that has Vivi on it. This is Black Magic.
Oh, Vivi.
Yeah.
My shirt's from Target.
Look, Target is great. They need to start selling Final Fantasy merch, okay?
They should. You could. Anyways, we're getting into a whole nother conversation here. So let's go ahead and I want to ask this real quick. This one, just to make sure, Jahara, Julie, this is your first time going to a Final Fantasy XIV media tour, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. Did you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
okay.
I liked it so much that I forgot how to play the game. They loaded this in, and I was just like, "How to play?" What?
Yeah. That was literally, by the way, my feeling too. When I started playing, I was like, man, I don't know. I looked at the abilities; they just looked like jumbled letters to me for some reason. I just couldn't start the process what it did. I started with Sage.
Oh yeah, so did I.
And it was rough, but it was exciting. It was exciting to get in there and start playing. And I guess after playing it, are you feeling pretty excited now? Like even more excited or less? Still where you were before for Endwalker?
Even more excited for me. I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't start playing 14 until March of this year. So this is my first time going through the introduction of a new expansion with everyone at the same time. So it's already a momentous occasion for me. It's just everything's a first. So I didn't know what it felt like to see new things. So to go actually get the chance to go in and to be just learned enough in my own class to be able to recognize the differences and what they did for my class. That was exciting. I was to be invited. I'm so stoked. Are we there yet?
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
It's been torture. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, I wish I would have went to the meteor tour. I wish I would have played it." I was like, just imagine spending hours playing this to have it ripped away from you and having to wait days until it comes out.
Weeks.
Yeah. I think the common sentiment after playing it was, how are we going to go back to playing the regular game, right? How are we going to go back to our old abilities, especially people like Larry, having experienced the summoner changes and then go back to the original summoner.
I can't imagine.
Don't
I was
play.
like, I don't even want to heal anymore until it's Sage because I love Sage so much.
Yeah. What about you, Mike?
Oh man. For me, I look at Media Tour and I go, so this is 7 hours now that is about to become 70 hours over the next 2 weeks. Because I know I will see all 7 of those hours non-stop in my head or on my screen for that entire time.
Mhm.
And I would not change a thing about that. Because it's better than living in the present, Endwalker-less.
Yeah. And I mean, you've gone through a lot of expansions now, Happy. I mean, is this like, how does Endwalker feel in comparison to some of the other expansions you've gone through?
Well, the mood around it's completely different. It's very similar to kind of when Shadowbringers came out, but amplified several fold, where it feels like people are just figuring out this game exists, despite the fact that it's been around for quite some time.
True.
And the number of new faces, the number of new perspectives that come into it are staggering comparatively. The amount of hype, the amount of energy to build off of is incomparable.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at, because I feed off of that. It just pulls in, and I store it in here, and then I hold it until November 19th. And then
I mean, just right before the summer, like it start to kind of get really crazy community-wise. I mean, the community has definitely made this expansion alone even more exciting. But I have to say, like, even before all that, like, for some reason, this expansion has stood out to me. I've been through every single one so far, except for I didn't play 1.0, so I didn't get that 1.0.
That's fine, move on.
Right. So,
I wish I did.
No, you didn't.
I think the only reason why I did it is because it was an MMO. I was like, I don't play MMOs. I'm not going to play this. And look, here I am.
I'm going to be honest. For some reason, I didn't even know the game existed. Like, I didn't
better.
hear news. I didn't hear enough news. It wasn't in front of my face to make me want to play it, which was weird. And I don't know if I was just in the wrong part of my life where I didn't have Final Fantasy news in front of my face. But, yeah. Anyways, going through all these expansions, Heaven's Ward was really exciting because it was the first expansion. You're like, holy crap, we see the cinematic. We went to the FanFest event, and it was just all super fresh for us. So that was really exciting. Then we went to Stormblood. Then that was a whole nother level of excitement for different reasons. Shadowbringers, I was more excited for Shadowbringers after it came out than I was before it came out, oddly enough. Because I think by that point, I was kind of starting to get a little bit numb to it. But then after seeing how fucking amazing Shadowbringers was, that has elevated my excitement for Endwalker tenfold, right? And so being playing this game for, I don't know, like 7 years now, this is the most exciting expansion for me so far, especially after playing in the media tour and realizing, hey, they really still know what they're doing. That feels like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, our excitement, I would say, is pretty high overall in this group. And I think everyone from the Endwalker Media Tour event left happy. I don't think anyone was like, oh, I kind of wish they did this, or I kind of wish this was this. It was more of, there was some little micro, changes, but all of it was masked completely by the general excitement for the expansion coming out.
Yeah, I was a part of that Reddit thing that asked me anything, and so it was like, no one's ever talking about what they didn't like. I was like, I'm sorry, we had 7 hours to indulge ourselves in Endwalker. You really think I'm gonna sit here and find bad things about this? No, I'm gonna look at every little good thing about it. I'm sure when the expansion comes out, there's gonna be like little things that will be nitpicked. Nothing's perfect, but it's just like, no, I didn't have time to sit there and think negatively about it. I was just in the moment of figuring out little things, making sure I got as much content as I possibly could, because we only had a certain amount of time.
I didn't like that it ended.
Oh, there's that too. I hated that. That was the worst.
Yeah. And it's so rough.
Away from my PC.
Because, like Mike was saying, going through all that footage again and kind of going through this over and over again, that stuff gets stuck in your head. That dungeon theme, it took a while for it to leave my head. It really did. Right now, it's kind of on the back burner because I'm not looking at those videos for a little bit. But it was there. And I couldn't talk about it. I couldn't say anything about it for such a long time. But I did want to go back to that Reddit thread comment you said, Joy. I was doing that too, and it was so interesting. Some of those comments are like, "Did you try this ability with this job and here and here?" I'm like, no, I was looking at the shiny stuff,
And people especially for Sage, because I was really looking forward to it. They're like, "Oh, would this Zoe work with the Nimia or whatever?" I was like, I don't know. I was like, when I was using Sage the most, it was in a dungeon. It's a 90 ability, so you don't have access to it. So it wasn't something that like magically popped in my head was, oh, let me work on this. It's like, no, ooh, shiny laser.
It's just so much stuff. There's so much, especially with 19 jobs. Like, holy crap. Happy, you are like definitely one that kills yourself over making lots of videos after Media Tour. How were you able to absorb as much content as you did and produce those videos?
So the first thing is accepting that you will not get everything. Because the more you think about it, the more you realize it's going to happen. It could be misreading a tooltip that says or instead of and. It could be not thinking of an interaction that you didn't think of testing in the moment. Because you're panicking because you have 7 hours. And if you're like me, you want to at least have a baseline with which to discuss something. Mm-hmm. So I had to game plan this one extra hard. Now, thankfully, Square Enix took out some of the work for us and gave us tooltips, because that is normally the first hour of time that is spent is taking pictures or coordinating with other people. Like, okay, you take the tooltips of this, I'll take the tooltips of this, and that way we can cut down the time. And like, oh, if you get footage of Sage, I'll get footage of Reaper, and then we both don't have to do it. We can just trade. And we didn't. I worked with a few people to help them with like if they needed a perspective or something. I did help out with that, but it was just get in, look at what needs the most time, and get out. And I did not abide by that. And I don't know how I made it.
Yeah. And the one thing that I noticed in the clips in my videos, at least afterwards, is those Discord beeps. I think that was the only downside to the entire event.
My footage has no Discord beeps.
Mine either.
I timed it.
I don't have notifications at all. I don't have anything.
My favorite is the opening. It's like the Endwalker, just like, oh. I couldn't get it. Like, no one's gonna pay attention.
Jahara and I were talking about that, and I was like, you just wanted to give everybody the experience of being there.
Right.
Like, that's all it was.
The thing is, we didn't hear, at least I didn't hear any of the beeps at all, because it was being recorded on a different machine that had the beeps enabled.
I heard them. Through the other machine. Yeah. But I was nervous because I put out like the themes themselves with the fights, and I was like, were there beeps?
I managed to not catch any beeps in my actual like theme, like night themes and day themes. I was like, whoo. I think if you deafened yourself and muted, then the beeps didn't come through. But if you weren't, then they did.
I think you had to tab into Discord in the program to do that. Like, not in our own Discord. I think you had to tab into Discord in the remote access.
Yeah, the computer that was recording.
Yeah. And I didn't think of doing that. And I'm going to write that down for next time.
Yeah. I was playing with Draconis and Asmon and Rich, and we were just talking the whole time, like while we were doing stuff. And so I know all those beeps. Like I was like, oh yeah, let me record it. I didn't hear any of the beeps at all while we were talking, but you could hear it all on the computer that was recorded because it was picking up all the little push to talks and everything else. And so it was unfortunate, made it work, but everything else was perfect. That I could tell with the whole experience. I mean, Square Enix doing this for us and letting us do this remote, Parsec worked way better than I thought it would. I mean, there was some, obvious delays that were there, but it was nothing compared to what I thought it would be.
It wasn't too bad. We noticed when we were like doing the dungeons and stuff, like you can see it in some of my clips where like all of a sudden like my vision just goes like to the air and like back down. It's like, what was that? And it's like, it was like a weird glitch. I was just like, then back. But other than that, like it was really good considering.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about. Let's see. What's the first thing we should talk about here? Maybe. Who do people care about the most about Endwalker, you think?
MSQ.
MSQ? I don't. Should we
talk about that?
Should we talk about that? No.
We know nothing but MSQ.
You say that, but there was a lot to glean from even just the little details around the map. I have a working theory now for a couple of things based on just visuals that we saw.
So let's do this. Let's do this real quick. So anyone that's watching that cares about the mild spoilers and theory crafting that we're going to do that has avoided videos because they didn't want to see spoilers or anything, maybe mute. I'll wave my hands like crazy like this if we get out of that little spoiler zone. I don't know if I will or not, but I'll try because I'm very interested in talking about some of the stuff that we saw because we can get a lot of little bits of information from it.
Right.
So go ahead, Mike. Now you can go.
Just so you know, Frosty, if you would like to have a very easy time with this in the future, I have on my stream deck a stream marker. I can place a stream marker down that I can look at later. So if I want to mark spoilers in the recording, I know exactly where.
I got a stream deck too.
Yep.
And it's not even on.
Turned on.
It's not even doing anything.
It's great for things like this where you need to remember, like, oh yeah, I want to add spoilers to this. Let me add a stream marker for it.
Oh, I need it. People keep complaining about timestamps too. Maybe that'll work for timestamps.
Oh yeah, I've started doing so many. I timestamped everything from the media tour because I've had nonstop, like, just please remember. And it's funny because I actually remember, but I forget to add an extra 0 to the first intro. You need it 0000, like 0 minutes, 0 seconds. And I forget the others. I just do number like first minute and then 00, so it doesn't do it. So I had to remember that. So the big thing for me was the dungeon.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got the dungeon, major Final Fantasy IV reference, and fitting to the
Final Fantasy IV.
Yes, and Final Fantasy IV Pixel Remaster came out not too long ago. It was a good time.
Yeah.
And the boss in Final Fantasy IV is the same boss in the dungeon. It's a perfect reference to the original. But we're a little confused because they list them as a major threat, and even on the update to the Endwalker site, they list the boss of that dungeon as a trial. I'm of the opinion that they are the trial, but that they're not the only part of the trial. They got 3 masks and 6 hands, and I can think of one other character from Final Fantasy IV that would fit that description.
I'm staring at Joy's face, and I'm like, Joy, do you get
Asura.
it?
The 3 major sisters will combine to become our other trial, our level 83 trial, Asura.
You think so?
I did. This
so.
entire Endwalker patch is literally after replaying 4 because I haven't really been able to play 4 because I didn't like play it on mobile or whatever when it was released. But like after replaying it and just going through the story of 4, I was like, there's so many things that align with what's happening right now in Final Fantasy 14 to lead us with that. Alphinaud becoming a sage. That's something the twins are sages in Final Fantasy 4. So it's just like, there's so much. The moon is another thing. Mm-hmm. And so it's just like, and literally the dungeon being identical to how 4 is. I'm like, this is exciting.
Yeah. Okay. And also, that dungeon is technically within like the Thavnair, which would line up, I guess, with
yes.
Yeah.
Right. So that would be.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's going to be one of the first tower that we see in Thavnair when we arrive, which is like right off of the coast, is going to be like the first tower that we're going to address in the MSQ, likely. Which was also interesting to me because when we ran it with the Trust, pretty much the entire Scion party is there with you, even though they're not in the Trust with you. Like they like go off, like they like when they like jump off the side, and you're like, where are they going? And like you just have to keep going. I was like, everybody's here. Like, what are we like looking for that everyone is here? Usually, like we're all split up across the realm, but.
And then also when you reach the top of the dungeon, like when you fight all 3 of them, that layout is identical to what's happening in the benchmark for Endwalker when you're fighting, when they show Xeno and then the twins and everyone fighting each other. When you're like wanting to see what your bunny look like, let's be real, that's why we did the benchmark. I was just like, wait, so does this dungeon lead up to fact of meeting Xeno? So I'm like, it's all exciting.
I mean, there's a lot of possibilities with all that, but I do want to say when the NPCs jumped off the side, we all tried to jump off the side too.
Me too.
Yeah, they went to go rescue I always get the pronunciation wrong. Akasadoras, I think it was, which are the Matongas that live in Thavnair.
Okay,
and that's the big thing. The Daruvas, as they're called, are based on old Hindi mythology, and Asuras are basically the anti-gods of Hindi mythology. Not to mention that one of the groups in Hindi mythology actually is run by an entity known as Varitra, which I can't help but find interesting that Varitra is in Thavnair in the initial Endwalker trailer as well. So there's there's a lot of little things that I can't help but pick up on through just that singular dungeon that are likely to just be coincidences, but get me far more excited.
MrHappy's
I haven't
like
really
the
went
little
back.
person today. Go ahead, Joy. Sorry.
I haven't went back to see exactly what everyone says because, you know, the NPC chatter that's going around. So I haven't really like fine-tooth combed that yet to see if there's any other little hints.
I think the only NPC chatter you can get is with the trust that they had some there.
Nope.
Really? No?
Oh, no, just the beginning of the dungeon. Really, just the beginning of the dungeon.
Yeah.
Chatter,
okay.
yeah.
It's like Urianger and Kryl were talking about something, and then you see like, oh, I sense 3 mage powers, and then that's when the sisters come out, and then it was like, oh, okay.
Oh, it makes sense. Yeah. That dungeon, you know, that dungeon music kind of after a while, because I did it 3 times. I did that dungeon 3 times. It got on me just a little bit. I was like, you know, I think I'm starting to just kind of get used to it. But the mini boss music, like I couldn't stop listening to it. I felt like it was absolutely amazing. I feel like the mini boss music was more interesting to me than the final boss music. I don't know why, but I liked it so much.
I know why.
The guitar, maybe?
Because I feels like they flew Alex out to record that one is what it sounds like.
Husky was it? Yeah, I feel like Husky was back there playing it. Right?
Yeah, Husky and Alex were in the back recording that one. Token's like, listen, I heard the other boss theme. Let's bring in for the mid boss theme. All right, bring the funk.
Yeah. But no, I loved it, and the dungeon itself definitely seemed like it was a good rough first dungeon. Right? You're gonna get into it, and it's gonna make a lot of people feel bad.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of playing with Work the Game Chris, and he was my tank, and he's like, don't worry, I won't do this to new sages. And I was just like, all these big pulls, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have my HUD layout right. This is all a mess. So we wiped a few times.
Oh
yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I luckily didn't wipe. I didn't know what I was doing with Sage at all. I don't heal at all. And Aspen was kind of pulling 1 pack at a time. He was being very gentle with it. And I was just doing the normal heal. And every time a button lit up, I pressed it. Right? I just kept pressing all the buttons. Somehow people lived and somehow we made it through. Barely. But it was great. I think Rich died a few times and I had to res him, but that might have been it.
I know that life.
Do you?
Fair.
No, actually I don't because I play Black Mage. So
Yeah.
that's not true.
But yeah, no, that dungeon was fantastic, and like it has me hyped. And I think the dungeon we tried in Shadowbringers was the level 73 dungeon. Is that right? It was the second one.
Yes.
And the reason why they gave us the second one, because the first one was like Spoiler City, right? I mean, this one kind of felt like it was Spoiler City, but maybe it really wasn't because they all just disappear in the end. You don't really see them die.
Yeah, they cut all the details, like the little cutscenes at the beginning and the end. They just completely removed them.
Yeah.
Which made me question if these were even the dungeon bosses, but it makes sense given, again, the Final Fantasy IV reference.
Mm-hmm.
They are the dungeon bosses. But yeah, because we had the intro to the other one in Shadowbringers Media Tour, right?
Yeah.
So that was a little bit weird. But yeah, they cut out a whole bunch of stuff, but it was great. I also liked how the trust. I only noticed it during a second boss where, you know, you have to figure out which thing to go to, right? And the trust just turn into like the boss and sit there confused for a little bit. Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah.
I love all the emotes from that boss. So
They're
Yeah.
so fun. That was my favorite fight in the dungeon. Like even more than like the final when they combine all 3. I was like, no, this is card. This is fun.
Oh my god, it was a lot of fun, and I just running it with trust I usually just run with trust every single time to go through the first time because I just want to absorb the dungeon and get the story without being rushed through it, and I feel bad doing that to, you know, other players, but maybe they'll be the same when Endwalker comes out. They want to calmly go through it, but I doubt it. We're always going to have one person, right?
It was weird was when I ran it with people, it took us like 40 minutes the first time we ran it. And then when I ran it the second time with Trust, it took me about 40 minutes. And I was expecting it to take much longer because the Trust usually take their time, but they were making reasonably sized pulls. And I think it might have been that Istinian was just using like his AoE that's in part of like the Dragoon rotation. So it was killing like more enemies in general. But I was like, That's
Yeah,
not that long.
hopefully that's like something that they upgrade for the trusts because no one AoEs.
Yeah.
Why it's like, wait, it's taking so long.
They don't AoEs, but funnily enough, if your DPS is bad, trusts actually do more DPS to make up for it.
Oh,
Do
That
they?
way the speed is like level approximately regardless of the skill of player. Yeah, they actually do. The trusts do actually scale based on your performance to some
I
degree.
actually did not know
Wow.
that.
I wouldn't know. My DPS must be fantastic.
I know. She's over here clearing savages in one night.
Yeah, yeah. But her healer's rezzing her on tiles that disappear. Whoa.
Look,
That's a
I
great
don't like how you're like, oh my gosh, there's a clip of all of us dying, and then we see this clip, and like somehow I'm the victim twice.
Shouldn't have
It
been
was a
there.
really good clip. I had to grab it.
So good.
I said, don't press anything.
Yeah, unfortunately, gravity doesn't care whether or not she presses anything.
Oh.
I look so dumbfounded in that clip. Like,
There's something even better about that clip is her transcendence actually kept her alive throughout the fall until it wore off. So she was falling for way longer than you normally do.
I was wondering. I was like, I'm still falling.
Yeah. Oh, it was great. But yeah, dungeon great. I'm expecting more great dungeons. I'm expecting a lot of really good PvE fights. You know, and I feel bad because like my expectations are so high that I'm afraid that, you know, they're not going to be able to meet them, but then I know like, yeah, they are going to meet them, right? It'll be fine. It'll be okay. They won't slip up.
I think it'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's like the game has been out for 10 years and it's only getting better. So it's like, how can you not be excited and like have high expectations?
Yeah, that reminds me. With the jobs and the new jobs they introduced with Sage and Reaper, did any of you get a chance to play them? I'm guessing Happy
No.
did for the million of videos he did. But Jayde, Jahara, Joy, did you get to play either one? Well, you played Sage, Joy.
Mm-hmm.
I just pulled out Reaper on like a dummy, and that was pretty much it. By the time I got to the media tour, I'd only ever played Bard, a little bit of Ninja, and Dancer. So I was like, I mean, I barely know how anything else works, but I was like,
Yeah.
I just did what you did when you were starting playing Ninja. I was like, this lit up, so then I pressed it, and then that lit up, so then I pressed it, and then I admired how gorgeous it was the whole time. And I had a good time.
Yeah, sorry, I'm waving my hands for the spoiler check. By the way, I forgot to do it. We're doing the spoiler check.
Thanks, Frosty.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, with the with Reaper and with Sage in general, it feels like from last experience. I feel like Dancer and Gunbreaker, they did really well in Shadowbringers. I feel like they're just stepping up their game more and more because both Reaper and Sage felt that much more amazing to play for me when I was looking at it. Sage was a little bit confusing for me to look at, I will admit, but it felt cool. It felt like lasers. It felt like I was a laser because that's the nonstop sound that you have with every single ability, and it's just bright lights everywhere, flashing crazy, and it was just fun to play. Joy, I mean, did you feel that way too? Did you feel like you were a laser?
I did feel like I was a laser. It's like, and like the secrecy we had to hold, everyone was always worried about, oh, Red Mage is so flashy with their LB3. I was like, oh, we haven't been in a dungeon with sparkly Sage yet. Everyone's going to be putting their effects on limited real fast. Yeah. But I definitely had a lot of fun. And I've been recently telling people who are super interested in Sage that because I play all three healers currently. And I just recommended to him, I was like, Sage is very technical. And so I wouldn't recommend it to be one that you would start off with. And there's a reason why it starts off so high, because they probably expect you to have that knowledge of healing before going into this job. So if you were like interested in playing Sage, I would recommend doing, it doesn't matter which class you do. You just have to know what it's like to heal and like all that stuff, because going in at 70 as someone that knows how to heal, being super confused at like half of the stuff there was, and I feel like I didn't really get a grasp of what Sage can really do until I did the tool tips video. And then I'm like, okay, I actually got to break down and like figure out like, okay, well, this does this and this does that, versus like just having hands-on and playing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, Happy, did you, again, making videos for years and stuff, how did you feel about Sage after looking at it?
Well, first of all, a lot of people making Gundam references. I was a dirty cheater in Blaze Blue, so I get New 13 and Lambda 11 vibes from this a lot more than I get, Gundam vibes.
Okay.
So I was well prepared for the lasers everywhere. And I enjoyed it for the most part. It was very mobile and very, very flexible inside of a lot of the raids. A lot of things being on the GCD, I think, will surprise people, but the things that aren't on the GCD on that job are busted in like the best ways possible. I couldn't believe the kind of power they had on some of their OGCDs. But I think at the end of the day, my biggest thing looking at Sage was actually not just looking at Sage. I wanted to see how it compared to Scholar more than everyone else. And I was very pleased with Scholar, other than the pet maybe not being that much more responsive. I couldn't tell. Parsec made it really hard to tell on pet responsiveness. So I felt really good about both the shield healers, though, at the end of it all. But I think Sage would be more my aesthetic, more my speed.
It's cool.
It's just cool. That's it. It's just
wins
cool.
the cool award. It is the coolest healer. You can't out-cool it. I mean, Astro comes... I think it goes Sage, then Astro, then maybe Scholar and White Mage. I don't know. They're kind of on the same for me right now. But I don't know if you would agree with that, everybody, but I think...
Who cares? This is not final.
Yeah, it's not final. All the things we're talking about is not final. Yes, it's not final
subject
cool.
to change.
From a visual perspective, of someone who doesn't understand healing, I agree with that list. I'm just like, yeah, it was really cool to look at. And then also, Astros are cool. They have like cards in the air. Love that for them.
Stars.
Yes,
Yeah.
Stars. Stay in midness, stars.
And,
Yes.
Sage gets also that LB3 with the tree, right?
Yes.
Pretty sweet.
The tree of life. Hey, Sage has all these medical skills right here. Did you know that their Adder's Gall abilities, the suffix is chole, which is actually, I think, the Greek word for the gallbladder, and it's Adder's Gall.
What?
Hey.
They're all medical terms.
Ooh. Yeah, when I was reading them, because I had to make sure I read them right, because I didn't want to be that person. And so I was like reading, I was like, Uma, wait, what? These are all, what? Am I a doctor?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on?
They actually, I mean, they even said they almost called it Chemist originally. Sage, they designed the job first and then decided to call it Sage, but Chemist was on the table as a name.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that.
Instead, maybe you would have like needles. Maybe they should do that, like actual like doctor needles, like shooting at people and stuff instead of
that could be one of the glams.
Oh my god, so scary.
A lot of people don't like needles.
Well, Jahara, you did have like a rough run-in with Reaper. What'd you think about Reaper when you were messing around with it?
So, as somebody that doesn't have like a lot of knowledge of other classes, I actually found Reaper to be pretty intuitive. And I mean, like being given like a level 90 Reaper like right off of the bat, and having only played like long range DPS, but prior to that, I was just like, this is a lot, obviously. Like I have no way to understand this, but it was. After literally just hitting a few buttons for a while and being like, oh, okay, I see that that's proccing this and this is proccing that, and I'm watching it. It was encouraging enough as a new player to a new class that I was like, this is something that I'm motivated to try. Like I could feel like I could pick it up, especially like not starting from 90, like starting from 70. Is something that I definitely am going to try it. Everyone's been asking me because of different ones I've wanted to. I recently picked up Gunbreaker, and I was considering Dragoon, but I decided to switch my time from leveling a Dragoon to leveling a Reaper instead, because I feel like they have a very similar, like, kind of like cool grunge aesthetic to each other, but I think that the Reaper weapon is way cooler because it's a big scythe. So, yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, it's pretty badass looking, and it felt really cool to play it. And again, I had just a brief run and just kind of pressing abilities, trying to make sure I figure out. And the teleporting around part, I don't know why, but I actually really enjoyed that. It's not like anything super different than some of the other ones where they're movement back and forth real quick. A lot of jobs have that, but it just felt good.
It was cool.
Yeah. Joy, you didn't play Reaper at all, right?
Oh, I did.
Oh, okay.
I played everything.
Okay, nice. So what do you think?
I think it it was interesting because a lot of times you would play melee DPS, you would do like your 1-2-3 combos, and just all classes here now currently it's like 1-2-3, and then it leads into something bigger. Where it seems like Reaper, you do all your big buttons, and then you do your 1-2-3 after the fact. So it's like it's changing your way of how you play the game now to something completely different, where it's less about like, oh, you got to keep your combo up. It's like, no, I want big buttons so I can be possessed by demon. And then as you mentioned the whole teleporting thing, I was doing a few fates on it, and I would never walk out of an AoE. I would teleport out of it because I wanted to look cool.
Gotta leave a flare. Yeah. All right, Happy, your thoughts here?
Reaper is going to be fun. I agree that it's super intuitive. I think a lot of that stems from the fact that it is low on off-global abilities. Like, there are some, and you do press them frequently at times, but almost all their power is on the global. And that makes it really, intuitive to kind of discern what the flow is supposed to be. There's only so many choices you feel like you reasonably have going from skill to skill. And it feels good. You don't feel slow. You don't feel weak. You just feel consistent across the board.
Mhm.
And that, I think, is going to appeal to a lot of people who were previously afraid of melee. The positionals are a little forced. I feel that same way kind of about Samurai I have for a while. And so that's whatever, but it's not that frequent at the same time, so it's not like a major portion of their gameplay. But, man, I can't wait for it.
Hey, man.
And yeah, if you're not
Don't do
dodging AoEs
positionals.
with the portal, you're doing it wrong anyway. I'm going to go from the flank to the rear with teleports, all right? I don't even care. I'm not going to walk. I'm not doing that.
Nice. Yeah, no, it felt flashy. It felt really cool. I do admit, like with these new jobs, there's no way I'm going to have anyone else's effects turned on at all. I just can't do it. I can't do it. There's so much. I just want to see my cool stuff. I don't want to see everyone else's cool stuff. And that's definitely going to be a big thing, I think, coming into the expansion. But outside of that, I am so like I want to play these new jobs. I want to be a healer because I want to be a sage, right? I want to be a melee DPS because I want to play Reaper. But I'm probably going to play Paladin. You know, I'm probably going to level and go through the main story with it and be like the Paladin that fights the evil Reaper, right? The arc of the story. Because I got some cool swords and stuff. I felt like that was cool, you know, and I can heal myself a little bit more automatically. So Paladin may be in a good spot. I think all the tanks should be in a good spot. They do get this little... their window of like super power if they can like time their defensive right at the very beginning to hit it, like a 4-second window. I think that's the common theme between all of them. But tanks feel like they could be pretty interesting. I don't know. Happy seemed to. Do you agree with that or disagree?
I think people are drastically underestimating the busyness of Dark Knight and Gunbreaker, because Gunbreaker was already busy and Dark Knight was already busy, and they're going to get busier on top of having to be a tank. So what I think we're going to see is a lot of tank mains lean towards Dark Knight and Gunbreaker just for the action. And we're going to see the people who are newer to tank and the people who just don't want to get carpal tunnel every time they play a job will probably adjust to Paladin. And adjust to Paladin and Warrior, which both should feel really good and yet at the same time feel entirely familiar. You'll feel better about all the self-sustain. I mean, Paladin self-sustain is...
It feels good being able to pop my own Divine Veil, man. That is... It feels
You
really
have
good.
a heal on your Sheltron now. You have a heal on your Intervention now. You have a heal on all your Request Cat abilities now. You still have Clemency, which unfortunately breaks combo still. And and you even Veil has a heal attached to it now. So it's gonna be crazy. Paladin's probably gonna have the most weird min-maxing. It's gonna be busy in that sense, but in terms of like active off global pressing, those two are Dark Knight and Gunbreaker are gonna be.
I can't wait for literally every fight to be killed by 8 paladins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what's gonna happen. It's just gonna be the paladin like rage, just going through every single one because they can heal other people, they can heal themselves, they can do all kinds of crazy stuff now. So
it's so weird because tank and healer are like my two favorite jobs to play, and I have leveled them up. I got them all up there. My main tank is Gunbreaker because I like being busy, and then playing the changes on that. I was like, oh, I love that we have an extra cartridge ability to be able to continue on because there's sometimes you do it and you're just like,
I get that.
and then I'm like just waiting, and I'm like, now it just seems like really more buttons. But then when it comes to Paladin, I never feel so stupid playing a tank.
Really?
And everyone's like, oh my god, Paladin's so easy. I was like, is it? Like the magic phase, the physical phase? And I'm like, I don't know. They're like, Joy, you play Gunbreaker. I was like, buttons.
Yeah. I think the hardest thing about Paladin is just not messing up your rotation, because as soon as you mess it up and you get it out of balance, it's all goofy and you just have to go back and just lose a chunk of your... That's how I feel every time I'm doing it. You have to try to get back into that exact strict rotation it has. And that's a little bit of a pain. But
I think a lot of it also has to do with how I play, because I play on the numpad. So if it doesn't fit on my buttons, having like a magical and physical phase like on top of each other, it's just like I'm doing this a lot. So I just feel like, no, I don't want to.
Oh my goodness.
I admire all of you tanks, so I can't do it. The first time I tanked, I cried in the dungeon while I was tanking. I did on stream, and everyone was like, "You're doing great." I'm just crying. I'm like, I hate this so much.
Just imagine you like swinging your axe, like.
Why?
It was more, I felt more like FOMO. I was like, why don't the mobs want to come to me? I was like, over here, guys, please.
Right.
So
and then like you're attacking them, and then like a DPS randomly attacks another one off to the side, or like they're only attacking the one that you're not attacking, and you gotta like... Yeah,
it was a lot of coordinating. I was raised a bard in the game where I'm just like, arrows over everyone's face. More arrows. And so it was just a lot more coordination than I'm used to. So one day I'm going to get there.
Jahara, what other jobs did you like playing when we were doing the Endwalker tour?
I stuck with bard, and then I did a little bit of dancer because I was learning. My personality really leans towards long range DPS jobs. Because I like seeing the entirety of the field and what's going on, and being able to like help out here, help out there, buff the party. I was never perfect in my rotation. I've gotten a lot better since Endwalker and realizing that I should work more on perfecting that. But one of the most noticeable things for me when I was playing Bard was that they took our damage over times from 30 seconds to 45 seconds, and that was life-changing for me, because apparently my brain operates on about 40-second timer. So usually I would forget to reproc, and it's like about 10 seconds after I should have already done it. I'm like, oh crap, I need to redo them again. But like when it was at 45, I literally never missed reprocking. I was just like, and again, I'm never gonna miss them for the rest of my career on this game. It's fantastic. So
well, it might be like you trained yourself, like the panic always happens at the 40-second mark, and so now the panic kicks in at 40 seconds, but it's still there, and so you're just gonna have to like... That's nice.
It's perfect. I feel a lot more efficient with just that alone. So
yeah. I love physical range. I love dancer so much because I feel, to me, it feels like I'm just chasing the pretty colors and the light ups and everything else, and I'm just kind of going with the flow and just feeling good about it, jumping in, doing a little dance, jumping out, having fun with it. I think I didn't get too much time with a lot of the physical range, but I do feel I don't know. Are people upset about them? Are people happy about physical range? Should we have a lot of opinions on that?
I still love machinist.
Yeah.
Because the satisfying sound of the shotgun now, it makes me very excited. I don't like that it's a cone, but I get it. It's a shotgun. But
right. What about the chainsaw?
Yeah. The chainsaw's great. However, when they said chainsaw, I was 100% expecting it to be like Edgar's chainsaw in 6. So I expected to do that, but no. Yeah. It's just a shot, but it's fine. I'll take it.
The blade, yeah, you shoot it out, all that stuff. But bringing the cat on. Good call. Good call. Yeah.
Giddy.
What's Aloha's thoughts on Endwalker?
His thoughts are that's food over there.
Nice. Oh god, yeah. The jobs overall, I felt good. I felt like the stuff that they needed to improve upon, a lot of things that they need to fix. I feel like they kind of got it, and we're gonna know better. Again, subject to change, everybody. Everything is subject to change. I'm not paying attention to a lot of the potencies. I'm not paying attention to a lot of that stuff because it might not add up. It's good to put out opinions, right? And say, hey, you know, these potencies look low right now, but not to freak out about them and say, oh, the world's over because of it. You just kind of say, hey, things look off. Maybe they'll change it. Hopefully they change it, right? And I'm looking forward to it. The tank potencies were a little bit weird to me. I did notice in the corner of my eye, I gave everyone, what was it, the weapon mastery? That boosted your base damage on the abilities and didn't boost your combo.
Yeah, all those typos were rampant on the tanks, the typos.
Was that a typo, or are they trying to reduce the gap of like failure? Like if you fail,
no, it's a typo. It's supposed to be adding potency to the high end.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Listen, again, you can't take those too seriously. At the Shadowbringers Mediator, Flamethrower from Machinist had a potency of 5. That was not final. I think it goes without saying.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I hope people are as excited as I am about it. And I know we're going to sit here and there's no way to stop having that theory craft about, whoa, this is doomed because these numbers don't add up the same as this and whatever else. But just we get out there and in the first couple of weeks, we're going to have corrections to all the abilities and everything before the Savage Raid comes out. That's what I expect.
I'm now distracted by Kitty.
Yeah, it's hard not to be distracted by the cat. You know, cat's great. Cat's great.
It's very big.
So, what else? Okay, so the zones. I guess let's hit up the main city, Old Sharlayan. What do you guys think?
I hate it. It's the worst.
Not even as a joke, Joy.
I can't like lie with that with a straight face. It's just like when you load it into Sharlayan, and then it was just like the music hits you and just everything about it. I was like, I'm so sorry, Limsa. I'm never gonna be over there ever again. Because this is just beautiful.
It was gorgeous. I spent the first 2 hours of the media tour in Old Sharlayan. I didn't have a plan like Happy, so I was just like, I'm gonna figure out what I want to do when I get here. And about 2 hours in, it was like, all right. So someone was like, we're headed over here, and I was like, oh, I should probably go to like Thavnair or something. There's just so much to look at and so much to see. It was stunning. It had all of the kind of the aspects of the other cities that I really liked all in one. So it had like a little bit of Limsa. It had a lot of the aspects of the Crystarium that I really enjoy as well. And it had kind of the grandioseness and like the bright colors and also the closer to the port area that Kugane has that I really like as well. So I was just having a blast.
Yeah, no, I didn't think about that. But yeah, no, it does feel like a lot of cities combined. Right, all the positive aspects of all the other ones. I was super surprised how many buildings we could walk in. I didn't realize that how many doors. I would walk up to them and be like, okay, this is as far as I could go. And then you see the door kind of open. I'm like, and you just have to keep going. I missed one building. And I felt really bad about it, but I tried to hit all of them. I don't know. Joy, your thoughts on it?
I think that this is going to be random, but every single RPer in the game is going to have the best time of their life because there are classrooms, there are cafes, there are ways to see why the twins are a little spoiled little brats when you first meet them because you see their house and you're like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
But it's just everything about it. The night theme is absolutely fantastic, and it was probably one of my favorite videos to edit because it was just relaxing. And I wanted to take as long as I possibly could editing that footage because I just wanted to sit there and listen to the music nonstop. So unfortunately we get logged out after 30 minutes of the game, but I will sit there idly in Old Sharlayan as long as I can.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I know I will for sure. Like, absolutely. Like, I want to like just go up to, they have those benches that's over there on the Tranquility side. and I just looking out on the ocean. I just want to go up there and hang out with one of the NPCs, get like a cup of wine, and just kind of sit back, listen to the music, and just chill out.
It's so cool.
Yeah,
It's gorgeous.
yeah. Happy, your thoughts?
I loved Joy's video on it because I spent about 2 minutes in there myself.
Oh no.
Only 7 hours.
Yeah.
And I spent the majority of it in the fighting for territory over the 4 dummies in Thavnair.
But you did it. You know what was so funny is I don't think they told you like on when you did it originally, Happy. But you go into the dungeon and put a dummy in the dungeon.
Yeah, that there's explorer mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, they left that detail. I forgot. I thought about using explorer mode too, and I was like, would we have explorer mode for this already in here? And I just didn't even check.
Yeah, no. They told us, they made sure that was a point the day that I was doing it, and I took advantage of it completely.
I think that's because they saw us fighting over it on day 1.
Yeah.
Every time somebody stepped away from the dummy for a second, it was like, nope, that's it. You've made a mistake. That's my dummy now.
Yeah, no. But I did spend a lot of time going through all the buildings and everything in Old Sharlayan. And I saw the library, the crazy, it's library. The Southern can't get out of me, the library, you know? But
Don't library.
Yeah. Well, I saw the big council area, and I was like, man, they're really showing us a lot. And they got a little hidden room that goes to like an elevator behind all that. I'm like, why are we seeing all this? I feel like this is too much for us, but I have to imagine this is just a tip of the iceberg to like everything with the story.
It's going to be amazing. One thing that really piqued my interest when we were there was, I'm like thinking if we should say it or if it's like Spoiler Town, was just the amount.
Spoilers. All right. Now you can go ahead.
Was the amount of crystals that were being trucked around by NPCs everywhere. And I was just like, what does this mean? What's everybody doing? Is this like a normal port?
So, if you go into one of the buildings, there's one, I can't remember the name, it started with a C or something, but they make aetherites there. This society is known for making the aetherites everywhere and charging money for them. So they're importing all these crystals and then making the aetherites and selling them. They could be doing other things with them. Happy's the lore master on this show, so he knows.
I would if I had been there. And had time to look around.
I will say... Oh, go ahead.
I was like, one of the things... I was just really intrigued by like the aetherites in general because like there's the big nautical aetherite that they have in Sharlayan, in Old Sharlayan, and then they have that same shaped one when you first enter the port area in Thavnair. But then if you go to the smaller town in the rainforest in Thavnair, they have a standard aetherite. So I was like, is this some sort of symbol of like the trade between Thavnair, the Thavnairian port, and Old Sharlayan? And it was just all of it. I was like,
Number 2.
The other interesting thing, I caught it in my video. I don't know how many people were able to catch it. There is a little house called the Baldessian Annex.
Yeah.
If you go into it, it plays like a synth kind of remix of the city music. It's like this whole nother little version. And so I would recommend checking it out because I would probably hang out in there for quite a while because it sounded wonderful. I did waste a good like 10-15 minutes just trying to record all of that music. So it technically has 3 tracks so far that I found in Old Sharlayan.
Day, night, and then Baldessian Annex.
Yeah.
Do you think the Baldessian Annex is going to be like the inn there or the hotel? Because we couldn't go farther in than just the lobby, if I recall.
I think it might be the area Krill is going to be in. That's going to be doing a lot of quest stuff for you and something else with that. I'm not exactly sure. Other lore scholars know better than I.
The Baldessian Annex is probably the Baldessians, I guess their embassy equivalent in Sharlayan. But all but 2 of them are dead. So it's ours now.
Yeah, that makes sense. What else about that city? I did notice it looks like they had kind of a generic housing ward set up a little bit off to the side. So maybe this is the next housing district in the future.
That would be my first house.
Yeah, I mean, I would camp
100%. Yeah.
Yes, for that. Yes, for 100%. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Because I didn't expect to be able to walk around like all like the foresty area. And, like at first I was like, oh, is this all spirit like town like built parts, and then you walk around. It's like, oh, we're walking over a body of little water, river. This is great. This is lovely and relaxing. So it seems a lot bigger than probably like footage portrayed, which leads into the awesome thing. I mean, it's kind of about the city, but it's also like an update about just Endwalker in general. The new Aetheryte travel system is fantastic.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
I loved it.
Yeah, accidentally I looked at it. Like not accidentally, I just wasn't thinking about it and just popped in front of my face. I was like, "Holy fuck, this looks great!" And so I'm excited for it because I don't know, just new UI that looks good just makes me happy.
Yeah, it really worked out for me because usually, and I'm sure that y'all can relate, like when you're streaming, like you're just doing a lot of things, and you'll open to an Aetheryte to go somewhere, and then you'll forget where you were supposed to go. But then, like, you have to exit out of the system, open up your map, then look at it and go, oh yeah, there, then open it back up. But now the new system connects it with the map, so it just opens it up, and you're like, you can look through the city and click on the Aetheryte and then teleport there. And I was just like, that makes so much sense. And I love that, and it's very helpful. Thank you.
I would just like to say, Frosty, I'm glad you heard my response to you in your head, and I didn't have to say it myself.
I heard it. No, I'm happy. God, yeah, my whole life with you, man.
Your face said it all. I saw it in your face because you looked directly at me and went.
How do you know I looked at you? You don't know where you are on my screen.
I figured it out.
Yeah. But when we were, the other thing that I know, what was the other thing I noticed in the city? I guess the little mammoths is mammoths, right? Yeah. They're everywhere. They looked amazing. I blanked on their name in my video, and I was like, I don't know what they are. If they're robots or so and so and so and so, and I got called out so bad on it.
They're unassuming individuals.
So was the Moogle delivery guy, and I checked mail, and there was no mail there. Just to let you know. But there's so many places for NPCs as well. There's so many little setup spots. So this is the central hub. Like, I think whatever other cities we get, we're probably not going to spend any time there. We might, for the story and everything else, but it's not going to be a main place that we go to.
For sure.
I might be colorblind, but I love Thavnair. Okay, you don't know that.
Okay, all right. Let's get into Thavnair. I feel like Mike has some stuff to say about it.
Oh no, I don't. I spent like 5 minutes there. I flew around. I did go to the Stone Sky Sea dummy section, and it looks pretty cool.
The Stone Sky Sea dummy section, like the square.
Yeah, where they teleport you off to the side to do the dummy tests for like trials and stuff for Stone Sky Sea. That you can go there. You were able to go to that spot.
Was that?
There's no NPC to teleport you there. Yeah, there's like a bunch of like little circles on the ground, and they're all like evenly spread out. Oh,
you mean that north spot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to like fly over a mountain to get there. Like if you don't have the NPC to teleport you there, you'd have to fly to get to or from.
I was wondering what that was. Yeah. Okay. But I did also notice there was like a square dock in the water that you could fly over to as well.
Yeah. I went over there. That's in one of my videos. I was wondering what it was for.
Don't know.
I had looked at the names of these things. I might be able to figure it out, but
I could get those names for you if you really need them, but because I did take the map and I scrolled through it, like zoomed in and went through all the little areas just to make sure I had.
Yeah, I should probably look at that at some point.
But yeah, no, Thavnair, the music again, amazing, daytime, nighttime. I feel like there's so much vocals in the daytime music. Like they just add in that vocal for I think almost every zone. But did Garlemald have more than one theme, or was it just the one?
I only recall the one.
I recall the one, and then like the specific battle music. But most of the time it was like quiet and eerie. I know there wasn't any music when you're down in the train station in Garlemald, but.
Yeah, I asked about that, and whether or not they said that they didn't think that was intentional. They thought it just it wasn't supposed to be like dead silent. You just couldn't hear.
Oh, it should be though. I was like, honestly,
it was really cool to like teleport down there and be like, "Whoa, it's so quiet."
It's like it sucks that something so like tragic and devastating can also be beautiful. It was weird just being in Garlemald because of that.
Okay, let's talk about Garlemald and we'll come back to Thavnair. Because I do have a lot to say about that too. They all drive the exact same car. It's a little Fiat. That's what it looks like to me for some reason.
A little burnt up, yeah.
Yeah, and they're everywhere. And for some reason, it felt weird. I don't know why seeing like actual cars in the game, but it makes sense because it's a mechanical city, and yeah, you would have cars, for civilians to drive around and everything else, buses. It just, it felt modern. And I don't think we had any zones that felt like that so far in the game, did we? No, I think that's
on how people look into them.
Say what? Happy? Sorry.
I said it depends on how people look into them, because like I get that kind of feeling from just like the Awesome Step. Like it's nothing like it, but like the same kind of feeling I get in Garlemald, that like sense of scale, that sense of I don't know. I got the same feeling. Whenever I think of my favorite zone, I think Awesome Step. When I step into a zone and it feels good, I just relate it to that, even if their atmospheres are completely different.
Okay, I gotcha.
I would say city-wise, it reminds me of the city that Emmett Selk made, in terms of like that was the first place we went to. That was like, this was like Boston. Like, where are we right now? And it felt like we entered an area where I almost felt like projected out of the game, where it felt like it was just like a New York or something. But clearly, like post-apocalyptic, like everything was burned to a crisp. But I was like, it doesn't feel like a fantasy realm here. This feels like a big city that's been destroyed by something.
If it's Boston, are the roads better or worse after the apocalypse?
That's a fair point. I think the one time I went to Boston, I was like, man, I really don't enjoy driving here. I had to drive out. Anyways, tangent. I'm not going to do that tangent. Going Garlemald overall, I mean, again, it's like all frozen around it. And I think one of the descriptions of it is like, this magnificent city and all this great achievement they had of making a city work here in this horrible landscape. And so Garlemald was doing pretty good. They were doing really good for themselves until they had that horrible civil war that completely destroyed everything. And you don't see any humans around at all. It's all robots, right?
I ran into one guy in Garlemald City. He was a scientist. And it was a fate. He asked me to like get something for him from some of the automated death robots. I said no. I was too busy. But I was like, I don't have time to do that. I need to go like elsewhere. So I was like, no, thank you. But he was like hiding behind one of the burnt cars and was like, go over there and help me get this thing back from those robots. And I was like, hey, bro, what are you doing here? It's like literally no people here.
Did he look like he's from Garlemald?
He did. I took a look at him, and he was like dressed in like science garb, and he had like long, like moderate like length hair, and I'm pretty sure he had a third eye. I didn't take that long of a look, but he wasn't injured in any way. He looked like he'd probably wandered back in after the fact, because he was so clean compared to like some of the other people we ran into in other areas of Garlemald who looked like they'd been through it. He was totally fine. I wasn't worried about him.
Okay. He's probably like, oh man, I got to get this equipment back, or I'm going to have to pay for it.
Something like that. I don't know what he was really doing there, but I was like, he kind of reminded me of the guys that you see behind the counter in the trains, like down in the train station, like the ones actually running the place. He looked like that, rather than being like a refugee himself. Okay. Refugee? I guess you could use the word refugee to describe the other Garleans you see.
Well, I mean, they probably are now.
Yeah.
It felt bleak. The whole area felt bleak, and I think that's exactly what it was supposed to feel like. So I think they definitely nailed that zone, and I'm just that much more excited for all the other zones that we're gonna see. I felt like there's a lot more in Thavnair overall than there was Garlemald, because I felt like Thavnair just had a lot more locations to go to, where like Garlemald had the main city area, then it was just like ice wasteland with some stuff around it, kind of spreading out from the city. So Thavnair had like crazy areas of statues and big pools of water and blitzball in one spot. And no, you don't think so, Happy? You didn't? No. All right. They had little stands out there that looked like they had little balls on them. I think there could be.
Yeah, that's equivalent to a giant sphere full of water. You're right.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for us to get submerged and be like, all right, it's time. It's happening.
We're all happy.
For once. No, we're not.
Yeah.
I don't like Blitzball, but I would if it was in 14.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. But they did have the one area that when we were flying around, it had the two big statues of the Beast Tribe and the big bridge that went to it. I'm assuming that's like the main Thavnair city, right?
So like the big what is it? The long bridge with like the two like elephants on the side. Yeah, I think that's the entrance to Razathan, right? But we weren't able to actually enter Razathan during it. I tried.
Yeah, I got rejected real fast.
Right now. We're like, nope.
Yeah, that wall kept hitting me, and I'm like,
I was walking around HUDless. I was like, ooh, a bridge. This is going to be a great shot.
Yeah. That's my favorite thing. It's like when you're without the HUD and you're like going around, you're like, oh, this looks so good. Then it's just like all over the side. Oh. But yeah, no, that was one of the big things I noticed, and I feel like there's lots of trees. It felt like a really big zone. I don't know why, but it just felt big to me. Even with flying over it, I can see if you don't have flying yet, which we're not going to have flying for a little while. We're going to have to walk through it all. Did feel like it was pretty massive. I don't know. Did you guys feel like it was massive, or did it compare kind of normal to what we have already?
It felt big to me. I also think the change in like different terrain and like type of foliage had to do with why it felt so big, because like it had the mountains, which were like the purple and red, so very like Sedona and like desert like, but then a lot of the forest itself felt more like rainforest. So it was like a mixture of like rainforest, like wet locations. Also there were like the morbles, which were not called morbles, but like you usually see them in swampy areas, but then like out with palm trees. So I was just kind of, I felt like I was in a new place all the time, and it was pretty big. It was comparatively big to a lot of. It kind of reminds me of some of the desert areas in Shadowbringers, like when you first meet Alice. Is like far as like the vastness of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Sedona, because I forgot about that. Like the red rock and everything else, kind of almost, but yeah, it has more colors to it. Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm trying to remember my time in Sedona. It's been a while.
I live in Arizona, so I've been there.
Oh, me too.
Times.
So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no. But that's another conversation for later. But yeah, no, it did feel like, yeah, being in Arizona, it did feel like it had that kind of like desert kind of mountain range thing. And then I was thinking about the desolate, like making a city and being like in the middle of somewhere you shouldn't be. Oh, that feels like Arizona, right? And so like all of it kind of reminds me of that. But I think that I'm trying to think if there's anything else to speak on with that zone without going too much into detail and getting lost in Thavnair.
The underwater travel was nice. I went underwater. Yeah, I went underwater for a bit, and I really enjoyed it down there. And I heard that at night.
Why did I do that?
Don't worry, I forgot how to go underwater. I told you that when I started playing this game in the media tour, I forgot how to play it. And you can see it in my footage. I was like jumping in the water. I was like, that was on purpose. I was trying to go under.
It's really cool. And actually there's like the pool area that they show in like the trailer. You can actually go underwater in there, and I figure that we'll have some quests that are in that area as well. So and it's very murky, gross water over there, but very like accurate.
Yeah.
You know. It's not ocean water, it's still water. So it's really cool how they did that.
Were there fish?
There were fish.
Okay.
There were fish, and then at night, if I recall, some of like the foliage underwater glows at night. So that was cool.
Were there balls? Like blitz balls?
I knew that was coming. To be honest,
I actually do want it to come out so everyone can be reminded that it was a waste of time.
I absolutely, it's probably the worst thing for me for 10, and I'm sorry, I know people do like it, but it's equivalent of me driving in video games, which I suck at. So I was just like, I just want this over with, and I'm glad that you can continue whether you win or lose, so that worked out for me. But Thavnair just looks like an area, and like it's just 10, like just Bring in Blitzball.
I would just like to say that I was waiting sincerely for your very honest question, and I feel fooled.
I'm so sorry. Welcome to MogTalk. You know?
Synopsis.
You're like, we're there, and I was like, how can I help you?
Were there balls there?
Okay. So, I mean, those are like, so zones, jobs, the dungeon, those were like the kind of the main points to hit during the event. Was there anything else that you guys were thinking about that we definitely worth a discussion?
See ya.
Hey, Mike, you already did the show on it, so you already know what topics we got to hit, right?
Yeah, we're doing pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, there's interviews also.
Well,
Any
yeah,
of
the interview experience.
watch, yeah.
You have that, Happy. What was your interview experience like? Because this was a remote interview.
Fun.
Oh, okay. So glad. Yeah, I asked, you know.
Fun.
Yeah.
Every time I go in an interview, I wish I could speak Japanese every single time. You know, the first time I yeah, I know. I knew I was gonna get that.
Yeah.
Like, well, if you need more. I remember the first time I went into an interview with him, I prepared saying like, hello, nice to see you again in Japanese. And then he said hello to me in English and I lost it. Like I forgot everything instantly.
No.
It was just like, hello. And I'm like, hi.
I practiced my own language. Hello.
That's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to learn Japanese. Because last time I was in Japan, like everyone tries to speak English, and I was like, I'm not going to be that person the next time I go back to be like, no, I don't know Google Translate. So that's when I found Jahara.
Crazy. I'm getting a Pixel 6 and the camera, if you hold it over foreign text, it translates it. So
Oh my god, I would love to see how accurate that is.
it's going to be so inaccurate.
So curious.
I'll let you know.
No, I'm curious.
Stop.
Oh my god, she did it.
It's rare that you get that one. And Frosty, you're welcome.
Oh no. Okay.
No.
So you never get to say I'm Jahara, you know, as part of the joke, right?
I feel really left out. I was like, if I knew this was going to be a thing, I would have picked a name that I could do that with.
Yeah. I mean, Frosty works sometimes, but it's so rare. I don't even think about it. Didn't like when it does happen. I'm like, I'm not going to be fucking MrHappy.
No,
I'm not
you
doing
whenever
this shit.
with you, it's not that. It's just whenever you say something's cool, I go, would you say it's?
Yeah, no. Cool. I like saying cool. Cool's my word. I love cool. Maybe that's why.
No wonder you're Frosty.
Yeah, maybe that's a wonder, bro. All right. So.
No, but
This is a poor setup.
Jahara's like, all right, I'm rebranding. I want puns in my name.
you go with the Jade thing. Every time someone says I'm jaded, you'd be like, no, that's me.
That could work. That could
There you
work.
go.
Although I do like Jahara because everyone is always just like, did you know that there's a place in Final Fantasy 12 called Jahara? And I was like, yes, I was fated to be here in this fandom. Thank you.
What is there? I don't know. I haven't played through 12 all the way.
I haven't either, but I just get DMs and like photos of it all the time. They're like, this is Jahara. And I'm like, it's a place, location.
I quit 12 often.
Oh,
For some reason, I can't beat it. It's just I start it and I feel like I stop all the time.
Unfortunate.
I know. I hear it's a great story. That's why I went back.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I want to play
That's what
this.
you hear about it, but yeah, you know, it's all right. That's a mixed opinion.
Look.
I'll say that.
All I need is the breeds in 14 now, okay?
They're not at all like me. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Endwalker.
Best segue.
Yeah. Endwalker, you know, we went over a lot of different key aspects, and did you guys all listen to the town theme too? I'm assuming. Think pretty good things for that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right, that's another one we got off the checklist. Let's go down the checklist here. Yeah.
I like it.
Oh, geez.
Good. I'm trying to think of the other thing. We went through all this pretty quickly. You know
we
what?
did. I mean, we didn't talk about all the jobs. We just kind of talked about.
Well, we didn't because it's impossible. You know, you.
No,
sure.
it isn't.
Okay, all right. You could talk about all the jobs, but not all of us played all the jobs in every single one. I don't know. Joy did, right? Joy, you played all of them. Not me.
Yeah.
You know, Jahara, did you play all of them?
No, I don't care about that sort of thing. Because I just don't have enough knowledge, so I wasn't going to be able to provide anything of value to anybody. So I was just like, I know exactly where y'all can go to. I don't know if am I pointing to the right place. Okay, where y'all can go to like find that information, and that's where I'm going when I need to learn how to do something as well. So
exactly.
My other priority was to make sure that I actually wanted to Fantasia into a Melviera, and I feel like that my Crystal character will be a Melviera. So I had to make sure they looked good in all the artifact gear. I had to make sure if they wore hats or not. They still don't, but the Reaper headgear does work. But, you know, I had to look at the animations.
I saved 2 minutes because my character was already a male Viera when I loaded in.
Nice.
That is
I
a
had
good
the
topic to
Fantasia.
talk about. Yeah. Because I Fantasia'd into a Melviera, and I'm 99% sure that's what I'm going to play in the expansion.
Oh,
They're just so
bunny boys.
They're so anime. And then like I was watching I watched Zephla's video because I thought I got cool like animation stuff, and then she went through all the emotes. I was like, they're just anime boys. Like, this is like the best thing ever.
Yeah.
I have Fantasias ready.
Yeah, no, so I was planning to do that too. I went through all the options, looked through everything for the Melviera, and then I started doing the emotes, and I looked, I'm like, there's too many emotes for me to press. I'm not going to do it. And I stopped and went on and did something else. Because I was just so overwhelmed by it. I'm like, Zeppla has it. I don't need to dick around with this.
Yeah, it's the biggest of one of my concern, because when we did the benchmark, is that the Melvieras have really bad posture. So when they're hunched over and their guts are out, like some of the glamours looked funny because they would be like aligned with their guts. And so I was like, I'm not going to transition from a male Makote to a bunny boy that has a beer belly every 5 seconds, because my glamours are very important. We all know glamours are the true end game of Final Fantasy 14. So I wanted to make sure that I was actually ready to do that. And yes, once you do change pose, the bunny stands up straight.
I'm okay with the beer gut, to be honest with you. It makes me feel more, realistic to me in my life. Right? Like, hey, it's me. I'm a big hunch and everything. It works out great. But I don't know. It just felt good for some reason. I was always against playing like the other different types of races in the game, because I wanted to be the biggest character possible with a big Moogle head, and that was what I wanted. I didn't want anything else. And so I don't know, something about playing it this time, I was like, maybe it is time to change. Maybe it is okay not to be the meme character with the big Moogle head anymore, and just go forward and do the bunny boy.
It's going to be a bunny apocalypse.
I feel like I'm like one of the only people that isn't going to like have like a main bunny character.
Won't be the only one.
So about that Aether character of yours, you want to get a Fantasia?
Okay, for my alt character, I can make him a bunny because he's in Makote now. But I'm a bunny right now, but I need to Fantasia back to my Aura. I love her so much. And it feels like me. So I'm gonna stick with her, and I will be fine. We'll be surrounded by my bunny brethren friends.
Yeah,
it'll be a good.
Everyone was Fantasiaing into their own character, and I was like, nah.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
Time for that.
Yeah, I was like, I just need a quick and dirty bunny, and I just want to make sure I want to do that.
I Fantasia'd in my character, so I felt like I was at home.
I couldn't even adjust my HUD layout. I was just like, I don't know, because how I play this. I was like, you think I'm gonna spend my 7 hours doing this? No. So all my footage was just like pointing and clicking. I was like, I'm so sorry, but like, I don't have time. I have 7 hours. I want to do everything.
Yeah, that's fair. Mike, did you're just gonna be a Lalafell, right? You're just gonna.
Oh yeah, that's not changing.
Yep.
No way. I got my Inferno jacket on. I got a blue Inferno jacket with blue pants, looking like Sonic the Hedgehog in high school. I'm good.
I love that jacket. It's so nice.
I don't have
Thanks,
mine.
Blue Mages. Oh, I can get you one in an hour. Don't worry.
We'll do that later. Sounds good.
Okay, sounds good.
I guess it's also good to talk about the things that we couldn't do. There's so much that was just grayed out and unavailable to us. For example, PvP. And
Moving on.
Yeah, that's it. There's nothing.
November 5th. It's okay. What? My light.
What just happened? I don't know.
Are you okay?
My light was like, it's time for me to quit now. Just fell.
Oh.
Oh.
I realized I thought I did a lot of stuff until I watched everyone else's videos, and I was like, "Where was that? Like, where was that?" Like, I thought I went through a lot of. I was actually surprised watching some other people's videos how far into Garlemald you could go. I actually probably only ventured in, not that far, up until like just like the very front area, but like there's just you can get so much closer to the castle than I just assumed. I don't know why I assumed I couldn't go any farther. I was just like, all right, turn back around, let's go. And then like I think is it the airship landing area and like old Sharlayan? Where was that? Didn't see it.
Like old Sharlayan in general. Oh, there was an airship landing area.
I know. I was like, wait, what?
Or like was it like elevators or something?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the part you mentioned on my video?
Yeah,
Like,
it was
what
like-
is that?
I was like watching your video and I was like, where was I literally spent hours there. How did I miss that place? But I wish I had been able to see even more in each area. I feel like I got to see the most of Thavnair personally, because I guess Thavnair wasn't as many buildings. So there were a lot of places that we were physically blocked out from viewing. And there, compared to Old Sharlayan, were a lot of places where like barricaded, like we couldn't go any farther. There were little to no barricades except for the entrance to Razadhan and the grouping of islands across from the dock in Thavnair. We couldn't get past that because of the invisible wall. But other than that, it's a lot.
Yeah. I did try to check the achievements, and
Did you see the new achievement layout thing?
the layout is amazing.
It's so nice.
Yeah. I'm excited for that. I was looking for achievements actually in there, so I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna get all the little hints and secrets and everything. And no,
They knew.
They know.
I kept getting achievements, but they were blank.
Yeah, they were like
getting
the crushing
achievements?
enemies achievements. Yeah,
Yeah.
you were getting to like kill certain amount of enemy achievements, but they were still blank.
Oh.
Okay.
Did y'all end up? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
Oh, I was curious. Did y'all end up getting to do a hunt while you did yours?
Nope.
And
I
nope,
did.
Yes.
I did 1.5 hunts.
So I did
The half
1.5.
hunt.
Yeah.
The half hunt was in Garlemald, and I didn't know it was a hunt. And I really wanted to see the Shadowbringer ability on Dark Knight, so I went up to a tree that slapped me to death.
Yep. It looks like a normal mob. It doesn't look like an S or A rank or whatever, right?
I was like, oh wait, it's called Shadowbringers. Let me go check it out. So I'm back in Old Sharlayan.
Yeah.
Let me all the way back to Old Sharlayan. It's so great.
At some point when we all started out, Aswin had this idea of like, let's just the four of us kill this hunt. Let's do it. We can do it. And so we did a death roll where we're just like, basically kill it until we die, res, come back, and we just kept running back at this hunt. And we got it down to like 30%, but we still didn't understand the mechanics, so we just eventually all died and it went back, and we're like, okay, we're done. We spent like 15-30 minutes just running.
So I didn't do the hunts. I was like, no way. I'm not committing the time to putting parties together.
Dang. We ended up doing a hunt and we killed it, but that's because it was at like the very end. And like at first it was just us killing it, being immediately murdered, and like running back. I was like right outside of Thavnair, so like I like reset my homies right to Thavnair, so I would like die and like just run back out. But then eventually like enough people got free, like we all like ended up killing it. It was really fun. It was hard because it was still new, so all of the attacks that were like it was telegraphing were still in Japanese.
That one. Yeah.
So
We were also told we couldn't use that kind of text, so that was another reason why I didn't do it. And I was like, oh no. As soon as I heard that, I was like, leaving that out.
Yeah. Like the
read it.
tombstone was in Japanese as well. Yeah, but can't. Yeah, that was one of the rules. So we can't really we can't even do that because those are not finalized names.
yeah.
But with the hunt, they would translate the abilities to us, and they're like, "This is what it says. All right, this is what you should know what it does." And so they were doing that on comms with us while we were attacking, and I thought it was pretty funny.
It was me.
Yeah?
Yeah,
That's
that was me.
Oh, okay.
It was fun. It was like, yeah, that was really fun. I'd actually never done a hunt until the media tour, so it was interesting to do.
We're probably going to be doing a lot of them. Just get
Yup.
prepared. Especially
looking
like in the
forward to
first couple of weeks. I think like that's the content. You have the first two extremes, right? And then you have hunts. And that's all you're doing.
Huh.
Yeah,
Lot of
and
hunts.
have fun getting eaten, one hit, murdered by a little frog-looking thing.
Yeah,
They give you, like, the little
ape,
directionals.
lizard thing.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden he just turns around, yep, and you're dead. It's like, all right, then teleport back.
That was a really good impression.
And then it was like in the first like 30 minutes of being there, and I was there as Sage, and I was like, oh wait, what's happening? Why are we getting force march? Oh, why am I tiny? Oh, I'm dead.
My favorite thing about that one, or the one that was in the Japanese text, is that like it had this ability where it would attack you. It would target you, and you'd have like the little telegraph around you saying, "Hey, don't stand around this person." But after that, it would keep doing it, but doesn't put the telegraph around it. So people kept running into people and killing them, and not realizing they were killing them. It took a long time to figure that.
It was fun.
Okay. I do want to go ahead and ask viewers if you want to ask some questions, just ask them in chat, and I'm gonna, if you're lucky enough, I'm gonna catch it and see it, and then we'll we'll go and do it this way, because I don't think the form I have set up is working. So feel free to ask questions in chat, and I will do my best to pull it from chat and ask them as we go through. And I'm more than happy to do that. But while we're waiting on that, we have what, 4 weeks? It doesn't feel like 4 weeks. Maybe it's less than 4 weeks now.
Too many weeks.
28 days, I think.
Stop counting.
28 days?
It's not my fault. I log in the Twitter and it's like Endwalker countdown.
Yeah, people just retweet that. Yeah. Okay. So one of the questions here.
Oh, 26 days.
26 days. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not ready. But I am ready.
Did we go to the moon? We did not get any moon exposure,
No.
unfortunately. That is probably going to be hidden away for quite a long time. I did see the moon. I did look up once in Old Sharlayan, and it looked a little angry. Like this kind of like bigger red moon. So I think that's all I really got to see with it. Did anyone else look up and try to catch the moon at
All
night?
the moon, as you have stated, yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Yes, I saw it in Thavnair, so yes. It was big.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back and look.
Yeah. That's what I did. I saw it, like, I was going through my footage, and I was like, man, I really should have looked up more. I don't know why I didn't. But, okay. So, also, materia, I have no clue about materia.
We weren't given anything. Everything dropped potions. Like, there's no other item for us to use.
Yeah.
And that's definitely final. Like, we're only getting potions now, you guys.
There's no loot. There's no... It's only potions.
Yeah. There was... What was it? There was something that... I can't remember what it was. Something popped up, but it was just blank. And we didn't really get any... It was when we killed the hunt. Like, it said you got... you received something of nothing. Like, it didn't have the name there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was blank.
Mhm.
That was fun to kill, though.
Yeah.
Someone likes hunts now.
Everything's
used
new.
to it.
Everything's exciting for me. Every
Uh,
little bit.
here's a question. What is everybody playing for their starting job going into Endwalker?
Sage.
Art.
Okay.
Reaper.
Okay.
I'm pulling a happy and spending the first 5 hours leveling up my Sage to 80 and then doing MSQ. It's gonna pain me so much, but I'd rather do it on the job that I'm gonna main than doing MSQ without it, because that's a lot of experience that I'll be able to gain knowing how to play the class.
Yeah. I think that I'm definitely going to be doing Paladin, but I will probably play Sage and Reaper shortly afterwards. Or like if my wife is catching up, I'll probably like, because she wants to play Sage. And I'm like, maybe I'll play Reaper with her when she's playing Sage to kind of level up with her and stuff. But we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, she likes to play when the expansion is released and then to quit immediately afterwards. So I'll get that little moment there. Let's see, what else am I going to catch? The stat squish stuff, I mean, like, it's so hard to analyze that stuff, I think.
I didn't notice until I was watching, because I had like an extra video that I just watched with my chat, and they're like, "Oh, your health is only this." I was like, "You think I noticed that when I was there? You think I cared?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, how did it feel?" It's like I was killing things.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, we didn't go back and kill like old, school stuff. We couldn't go to old zones and look at stuff like that. So there's no way for us to know how it feels retroactively, but it feels perfectly fine currently, which is what we think, or on like old areas, but it feels fine on current areas. So the numbers aren't as big. We're not going to have 8 million damage or whatever with an attack. So I think we're going to be a little bit smaller with that.
8 million? Who are you, Sphia?
Yeah. That's so stupid. Let's see. What was the other thing? I'm trying to read this like I am actually doing a good job or paying attention. Where is the next question here? Why is people saying blood? Yeah, I guess maybe blood moon. I don't know. Do you feel like hotbars are unnecessarily full for the jobs that you're playing? No?
No.
Some button bloody stuff I didn't agree with. I don't think Samurai needed its third AoE, and I don't think we needed to have Astro's draw be 2 buttons for the Arcana, for the minor Arcana. But it wasn't that much different than it is now, to be honest.
Yeah. Paladin, they got the 3 sets of new swords, but it all just feeds off of confetti, so...
Yep.
Yeah. Let's see. How did it feel? Well, it feels the same. I don't know. Do you guys look at numbers? I don't look at the numbers at all until like way after I'm trying to like hyperanalyze, but numbers are numbers that fly on my screen and I don't pay attention to them. I'm looking at the monsters and stuff, so.
Yeah, I'm looking at the health bar to see how much % I need for them to go away. Like how much more do I need to do? I'm not like, I need to exactly crit at this specific number in order to do something. Like that's not something that I pay attention to. I mean, a lot of people do, but it's not my thing.
Right.
Yeah. Oh,
numbers were whatever. It took the same amount of time to do a dungeon as it always takes to do a dungeon.
Yeah. Although people are going to die in this dungeon a lot.
Yeah.
I
felt like the dungeon was like really fun, and there were just like a ton of AoEs, so like there was a lot of screaming on the part of our party, but like in a fun way. But it didn't feel like any harder. And that's to say, like I didn't even have all of my keybinds the same, so I was doing a lot of clicking when so I wasn't nearly as efficient as I would be, and it still didn't have too much of a problem.
Yeah. I feel like we kind of glanced over the third job that they released, and we didn't really. We talked about it a little bit. Yeah, Summoner. We hit it a little bit. Who got a chance to like really get into Summoner and play it? Joy, Happy?
Oh, I touched it, and then I was like, "Oh, there's no Eggy Assault. Oh, look, summons. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna move on."
Oh, man.
Look,
Mike, you don't like that opinion?
No, look, and like Jahara said, there are people that have the knowledge, and it's not me.
Yeah. It felt good to me. Just, I pressed the buttons, I made the different summons come out, and I, made it do its different things. I didn't theory craft or anything, but it feels more like a summoner would feel to me, and less like a warlock from WoW, which is kind of what I visualized it before. Is that what you would say, Mike?
Yeah, it was super streamlined. It was very, very easy to play. I'm a little concerned about if they die at a bad time, more so than I was before, because if you die now, you're going to lose all of your Arcanums, and you will be a ruin bot for a very long time. and that is going to be slightly concerning. But overall, I had a good time. I'm probably playing it for the first Savage tier, and I will definitely have a lot more opinions about it at that point. But it's like it's very intuitive. I think it's a very hard job to screw up personally.
Well, I mean, they obviously felt like they screwed up the job before, but yeah. So
no, I mean like,
well, I get it.
I'm excited to fight alongside one just because visually they seem really cool. But from
people are going to be turning that shit off.
Minimize all the summons as small as I can make them.
I'm making them so tiny.
Yeah.
I want Giga Bahamut. Can I get /Bahamut size Giga?
Really tiny.
No, I want
huge.
I want it to be turn 13 size. Is what I want.
Oh, man.
As big, if not bigger, than the boss you're fighting.
They should make that like an option, right? To where you can make it that big. I feel like that's fair. I mean, you'd probably mess up more mechanics in general because you can't see what's going on, but it'd be cool. Be fun. It's like Titans fighting each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
Okay, so let's see what else. Dungeon mechanics were a step up from Shadowbringer dungeons. I feel like it's the same, to be honest with you. Starting out, it was a little bit rough. We won't know until we see the rest of them, but I don't know. It just feels like it's going to be a rough start.
Holminster, very similar. The first boss in Holminster is the dashes to the side. There's these AoEs, and then there's the balls that shoot AoEs. And then there's a second set, and then the boss dashes to the other side. There's a third set of AoEs. And then the last boss is like rotating with this. He hits his front and his back, and he fires a laser. The first Holminster felt very much the same as this. I can't really find any distinguishing difference between this and like running Holminster for the first time.
Yeah. I mean, Jahara, this will be your first time experiencing like a difficult first dungeon, like going through it, because I think Holminster was kind of easy. I think by the time you got to it, right? Like everybody kind of knew what they were doing and everything.
Probably. I don't really know what to everyone keeps saying that. They're just like, oh, well, like things like you have the echo now and like so this will be my first, maybe it'll be a rude awakening. Maybe I'll just get stomped all the time and be like, what happened? I thought I was good at this game.
Yeah, my first experience was I caught up to everything at 5.3. So then fighting the Seed of Sacrifice on the floor majority of the time was absolutely a blast. And It's an experience that I cannot wait, because right now we all know everything because we've been hanging out playing the game for a while, but no one's going to know everything. And it was fun to be with that for 5.3 for just a patch. And now just imagining with the whole expansion, it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. I'm excited.
I'm so excited. It's like I'm like, I don't know. I was talking, we were having like really in-depth conversations last week, and like my excitement is just way past I think some other people's excitement that when it comes into regards of Endwalker, because of just I don't know if it's just because we played it already and we got to see it and feel it, but man, it feels good. I guess I should ask this too, because some people said it and some people didn't. Did you feel like it was more responsive, like when you were playing? It felt kind of the same to me. I don't know. It felt...
Mm-hmm. It's really hard to say because we were in Parsec. Yeah. So it's like, it was as responsive as it can be being remote.
Yeah. So it didn't feel bad. It felt good. So I think like overall, we shouldn't expect any crazy differences. Man, I wish there was PvP, but we got that coming up, and it's going to be Fortnite.
Yeah, November 5th.
It's going to be Fortnite, guys.
Where we drop in Warriors of Lights.
You're going to drop the Warriors of Light in the middle of the burn and just fines.
Oh my god, I would do that.
Yeah.
I would play that.
I made Jahara do PvP recently because I was like, you get great XP if you do PvP. You should go.
Yeah.
It was just a whole crap show. Oh my god. I'd never done anything like that before, and I'm a long range DPS. I was doing it as a dancer, so I kept getting murdered, like chased down and murdered. And I was like, why does everyone want to kill me? Like, because you buffed the party. And I was like, I have done no such thing at this point.
You should play a healer. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's an adventure.
Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
Healer is like they put a number on your head and they all try to kill you at the same time.
Oh my god!
It's great.
Very little chasing and a lot more killing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I did healer for a little bit and was instantly dead. I was like, you know what? We're just gonna stay machinist and be happy.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything.
I can't get it out of my head. It's like injected in there. I can't do it.
Can't be happy, Joy. Happy.
To be fair, I can because my name is Joy. What does joy mean? Happy.
Yeah, it brings you joy. You know, guys. Today, MogTalk has brought you joy. You know,
And happy.
And you're happy. Yeah. Not jaded, but you know, maybe a little bit of jaded. You know. Okay. We could probably start. I don't know. This conversation is going to go into a crazy another direction. I feel like it's a good time to maybe go ahead and start wrapping up a little bit. PvP, I do want to make one last note. I am really excited for November 5th because I really want to know what it's going to be. Because I think they're going to make it just PvP is just going to be a fun atmosphere, and that's what they're going for. It's not going to be the hardcore serious stuff, I don't think, anymore. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm wrong. But I feel like the Final Fantasy 14 direction is going to be, you know, more of a fun, interactive kind of PvP than it would be like the serious hardcore esports MMO PvP, and that fits 14 better. I would want the esports PvP because that's what I'm about. You know, I did shoutcasting for Feast at the FanFest stuff, and I loved it. But I don't know if 14 can really support that kind of PvP anymore, but we'll see. I mean,
it's definitely a lot of fun. Yeah. Like, I know people are always like, oh, I hate PvP or I don't want to do PvP. But every time I'm in there, even if I'm dying every 5 seconds, I was like, this is fun.
Yeah. Are you doing front lines a lot?
Yeah, I did a lot of front lines because I was working on my Omni 80. So I was like, I need this.
If you go in the front lines with friends, it is so much fun. It's like a ton of fun. Because you're just like, all right, let's kill this one person. You just sit there and you target them and you just blast them. And you actually get the kill and you feel pretty good about it. And you can be a little bit organized. Otherwise, it's just a clustered mess, and you're like, I'm just kind of clicking on targets and hoping things happen, right?
You've seen the new description of small-scale PvP, right, Frosty?
Yeah, Fortnite.
No, the perfect introduction to PvP is brand new content brings the opportunity for casual players to participate in heart-pounding battles without role restrictions. For plentiful new rewards. Jump right in. But we don't know what it is.
It's casual PvP. We know it's casual PvP.
Because they said they were going to do more 4v4 ones, right? Isn't that what they mentioned?
So what he told me was that it was going to be somewhere between Feast and Frontline, I think is what he said. So like anywhere, like he wants it to be like either 4 or close to 4, right? A little bit more than 4 maybe. So I was thinking 8v8. That's what I was thinking. But Mike's just like, I don't give a fuck about
No, I've actually been demanding 8v8 for a long time because that's the best size for PvP mode. And they got rid of it.
You can bring your raid group, right? You can bring your raid group into it.
No, that wasn't what I was thinking. But yeah, sure, we'll get that. I just think that when you have minimum 24 people, maximum 72 people, that if not everyone is queuing all the time, it feels like crap.
Yeah. Yeah. And 4 is stressful because it means that you're very, very important and your actions really matter. So the Feast 4v4 can be stressful for a lot of players because everyone has to be on point for it. But yeah, anyways, media tour over. We're done. Endwalker, we don't have to think about it anymore. You know, we're just going to play normal Final Fantasy and imagine that Endwalker's not coming and forget that we had all these great experiences so we don't torture ourselves all the way until Endwalker, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. I don't know a Sage. I haven't seen this at all.
What is Sage? I don't know.
I don't know.
I disagree with that entire statement you just made.
Do you just go back and look at your media tour videos and just sit there and watch it?
No.
Is that not what we're supposed to do?
You
What?
You know, we have 7 hours of footage. We couldn't post all of it, but we can still watch it, right? So you just put them all in a playlist and just hit play and just sit back and watch and remember the experience. Anyways, okay, let's wrap it up. So kind of finishing out, I always like to have you all kind of shout out whoever you want to shout out and say how people can find you. Streams, all that great stuff and everything else. So we'll go in the same order we started the show with. Jahara, do you have anyone that you want to shout out, and where can people find you if they would like to?
Anyone that I want to shout out?
Yeah.
Joy.
I'm coming a mile away. As soon as she looked at the camera, I was like,
Yeah. Okay.
Midna, baby. Let's go with that.
Okay.
Let's go join Midna. And then where people can find me, you can find me on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, all under Jahara Jayde. And if you like cosplay and Japanese, also Patreon. That's a new thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah. All right. Joy.
I would like to also shout out Jahara and Frosty and MrHappy and also Midna. Midna baby. But you can find me everywhere: Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, so I guess, and YouTube at CuriousJoi. And the other thing I'm going to do is right before Endwalker, I'm going to be doing Extra Life to raise money for children's hospitals. So I'll be doing that, which also includes me watching the live letter because it just happens to fall during Extra Life.
Yeah,
So I was just like, yep, this is a part of the marathon. Thank you.
Yeah. Love
yeah.
Extra Life. I love working with them. Maybe we'll get because we did the Chocobo race. Maybe we'll do another Chocobo race. Yeah, that would be great.
are you gonna cheat?
Huh? Well, that's the whole point, right? Is for me to cheat and just blow everyone up. It's no fun if I don't do that.
It'll be fun.
All right, Happy. Shout out to who you want to shout out, and
Shout out Jahara Jayde and CuriousJoi and Frosty_TV stream on Twitter and Midna Baby and MrHappy.
Yeah,
I'll shout them out. They're all cool. Well, Frosty is
nice. Okay, we'll go.
There it is. I'm doing YouTube stuff and Twitch stuff and too many hours, but not enough hours. I'll see you November 19th, Endwalker.
That's perfect. The perfect shout out and perfect where they could find you and everything. You're a pro at this, MrHappy.
Yes.
But please, if any of you had any doubts at all, please check out Jahara Jayde. Please check out CuriousJoi. Please check out MrHappy. They're all wonderful people. I had a great time on the show today, and I am so happy that we got the three of them on to talk about our experience.
I'm sorry, you're what?
I'm out! I'm done! We're done with the show! God damn!
both me and Joy leaned in. What was that?
It's fun. Like
Shit.
It's
All
very
right.
fun. Very fun.
Anyways, you were all wonderful. Thank you for coming on. I had a joyous time. I had a fantastic time, and I was not jaded at all about any of the things that we talked about. And it makes me feel very cool, and it's a frosty atmosphere. All right? There we go. We did it all. We forced that in.
so hard right
If you want to, please go follow them, support them in any way you can. We will have a MogTalk, I believe, next week. We're still working on the exact topic. The week after that, we're going to be talking about PvP, of course. And the week after that, we're going to be talking about, hey, we're all really excited because Endwalker's 5 days away. So those are the future shows that we have coming up.
Like when you say all of it in a row, you're like, oh my god, it's so close.
It's really close. But yeah, we're going to be wrapping up. We'll be doing a host here in just a little bit. Please check out State of Realm, which is going to be shortly after the show. Right? When is that?
Yeah, I gotta make sure Ethos is awake, and then we should be good to go.
Okay. Awesome. And also, there's a PvP event. You can check that out going on right now with Newcomers to Feast that's going on that you should check out as well. So there's lots of stuff going on. Please watch Twitch today. And thank you, Andre Kane, for the music in the intro and the closing. Thank you very much to my wife for putting up with my bullshit and letting me do the show every weekend. Thank you very much to all the mods and all the people supporting the show in general. And I do have another VTuber premiere that's going to happen right after this. Thanks, Patreon supporters. So watch that too. And until next week, remember to be good, keep cool, stay frosty. Everybody wave and say bye. No, you did your Jahara. You did your Jahara. Go ahead. Oh, okay, we're good. Hey everyone, thanks for watching the show. It was a lot of fun to learn more about Endwalker, and we're going to come up on it in just maybe a few weeks here. Before we end the show, I do have some people I want to thank, and that will be Morning, who's actually not a person, but an organization that makes a website that's really good for PvE resources. And then there's Phase Temperance, which is an organization that puts on PvE events. And then we have Teamcraft, which is also a really cool, my eyebrows go up real high. Teamcraft is an amazing resource for crafters. And then we have Dude It's Antonio, which is a really cool person. And then we have D Fury, which is a really cool person, and Daniel H, JJ, Little Dude, who is new, thank you Little Dude, Megan C, Nami, Psyche, Tagalong, and Dirk. These are all really amazing people that I 100% appreciate supporting the show, and I just want to do a special shout out to them, and of course all the other Patreons and subs and supporters. If you want to support, go to the Patreon page, and then we'll be back next week. Guys, remember, be good, calm down, doggy, and we'll be back. Bye.